Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's an interesting topic, a topic that I am accustomed to more or less since I started my career. And that may come as a surprise to many people because we think what's happening today is so different, so unreal, as if it has not happened before. So let's go back 3 decades ago, more or less when I started my career, slightly over 3 decades. My first few sales calls, and one of them was to a bank. And we went, at that time, we did not have CFOs, so we used to call them General Manager Finance. So we went to see a General Manager Finance or Head of Finance, and we were trying to sell an application, which may surprise some people today, but it was automating the payroll system. And the GM Finance was quite upset as to why we have come to this call, which will take away his job. So he thought payroll automation is not going to happen, and if it does, my job is going to go away, and he considered us as villain because we are there to get rid of people from their household earnings through this kind of a tool, which was by then at that time called computers. 30 years down the road, the same discussion is happening again. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, data, will it replace everything else? Will humans be present? And if they do, in what shape, size, and color? I guarantee they'll stay in brown color still, but nonetheless. So the discussion has not changed. Of course, the quantum of discussion, the magnitude of discussion, the pace of discussion has definitely changed and evolved over a period of time. Has humans lost the touch than what they had 30 years ago? And if I ask this question to anyone else, everyone will say no. The answer is absolutely not. Humans have assumed a lot more importance than what they did 30 years ago, but in a different way altogether. So this whole discussion of digital disruption, would it replace marketing as a function to be replaced by artificial intelligence, machines, robots, and the role of agencies more or less will go away. Maybe it will. Maybe it will change its color. So in today's world, the discussion on the famous proverbial 3 words, as they say, or to unlearn, learn, and relearn, is a lot more important than what it has ever been. The businesses clearly are disrupted. I don't know how many of you know the stats, but till about 10 to 15 years ago, average life of a business was 75 years. So once you start a business, and if you continue to do the fundamentals right, the business will continue to work on its own for about 75 years. Today, 75 years is reduced to 15 years. So if you don't reform your business, if you don't make your businesses current all the time and discussing it, then the life will more or less reduce to 15 years and you will be out of the business. So I think it's a very interesting topic which brings very interesting dimension into the way things are shaping up around the world. And we have 3 great panelists who will try and explore various angles and see what dimension do they bring in towards this very, very important topic. So to me, there is a human dimension to it, there is a data dimension to it, and there is an industry dimension to it. And let's try and see if we can cover all of those. So the way we'll run it is I'll give 5 minutes to each of the panelists to just give an intro as to how they see this digital disruption, and do they really see marketing vanishing in times to come, or do they see it is evolving to something different? So maybe I start with Dr. Irfan Ahmed and see if, how does he see the role of humans as we move ahead in this age of digital disruption?
Thank you, Veqar, and thank you, Marketing Association, for letting me vent my thoughts. We're talking about digital marketing. Digital marketing started with the internet. I happened to be just turning 40 when I realized that print media, I was involved in selling print media advertising, that print media would be replaced by digital. It was 1998, and I contacted Yahoo, sitting here in Karachi, and asked them to become their sales representative for Pakistan as well as the Middle East. Because I felt that there was going to be a change, that people will start using more and more digital media. So there was a need to sell digital advertising. So for me, that revolution of marketing moving away to digital took place 20 years ago. It was very simple. All I had to do was to teach people what is a banner ad. I had to explain what is a website to some. And eventually, things caught on. People started accepting that you do need to communicate with others through the medium of the internet. Fast forward another 10 years, and we now started seeing a lot of artificial intelligence, or just plain intelligence, working its way into the digital space. So when you did a search, and at that time it used to be on Yahoo, not on Google, you could see an ad that appeared. But then when you went on to another website, you could see that that same ad was following you. And you were like, wow, I searched for a car, and I'm now seeing car ads all over the place. You may have felt a little uneasy about it, but you enjoyed the experience because there was very few advertisers were actually using that. Later on, new companies started coming in. Google learned its game a little more, and then there were other companies like Creto who started capturing all your data and then contacting you on each step of your digital experience. That became annoying because you were now being followed everywhere, and everything that you did online was being stored, and that data was being used against you. At least that's how, as a consumer, you felt. So I think what is happening today is that we have kind of exceeded the limits that an individual will allow a marketer to use. And that is the reason why we had the incidents of Cambridge Analytica, where my privacy was being invaded. We need to look back, stop, and examine the role of a marketing person. Do we need that much data? Or can we, as marketing people, think and come up with solutions? If you go back 20 years, when you wanted to make a media plan, you would look at the type of medium that a person used. For example, if I wanted to reach out to someone who is interested in business, I would probably advertise in the business pages of Dawn. If I wanted to reach out to someone who is female, I would advertise in a magazine that was read by females. Now, because people are using a wide variety of media, what is happening is that you're relying more and more on statistics, more and more on analytics, and that decision-making is being left to the Googles of the world. And what is happening? There are click farms in China that are clicking away at various ads, and you're relying on analytics. You're relying on the number of clicks that are generated. You're relying on the number of followers that you have on Instagram, and a large number of those are fake followers. You can buy followers. You can buy clicks. Should we rely upon that? I know we are talking about digital marketing. I know we should be talking about the greatness of digital. But at the same time, we are human. We have to realize that we have some common sense. Use that. We have some idea about what is good and what is not good. Let's use those ideas. Let's expand the use of digital and combine it with our own creativity. I think we saw an excellent example of the creativity that Shoaib showed us in his TV commercial. That will resonate with people. It's not just statistics and analytics. It's resonating with people that is important. Now, whether you want to communicate that online or you want to communicate that through a print medium, what is important is to feel. And to feel, you must be creative. So that's my general perspective on this. I know it may be very different from what people here would like to talk about, but let's see what others have to say.
Thank you, Dr. Irfan. And it is interesting. And Dr. Irfan spoke about using human mind, using creativity. One of the best things about human mind is the more you use it, the better it gets, right? So is AI or machine learning a substitute for intuition? Is it a substitute for gut feel? Is it a substitute for collaborative thinking and collaborative decision making? Or can everything be done by the machines where intuition, gut feel doesn't have any value? How important is data in all this? Do we need all this data, or do we need to start thinking about smart data where I get to see the data that I want to see rather than being bombarded with all the data that is being generated by each one of us and also all around us? So we thought we have spoken about the human angle with Dr. Irfan. Let's go to the second angle, which is the data angle. And who better than Khuram, because he plays with data every day. Khuram.
Thank you, Veqar Saab. Very insightful thoughts by Dr. Irfan. And rightly, as Veqar pointed out, I'll be talking about the other part of the digital disruption, which relates to data. And of course, this whole digital thing started with internet. So what internet did was that it enabled any organization to just reach out to millions of customers, going beyond geographical boundaries. While it did so for one organization, it did so for hundreds of thousands of other organizations. So, you were back to square one. The biggest challenge in that is that while I can throw an ad to an individual who needs, who's interested in traveling, so does thousands of other travel agencies or airlines. And one downside of it is when you're bombarded with so many similar messages, then what really happens is that your retention for a particular brand really reduces significantly. Not only it reduces significantly, but at the same time, in a lot of cases, it kind of creates a bit of a mashup and confusion. So in that scenario, the real difference is that while this digital age is generating a lot of opportunities, the real value is really how you can use the data which is being generated as a result of this digital revolution to really look at understanding the needs of the customers, using the insights, and that's where I agree with Dr. Saab that it's not the machine which is going to take the decision. It can highlight the patterns, it can highlight the hidden patterns, but then it is the individual who would, looking at those patterns, will develop insights, use those to develop better services and products, and then decide on what are the best channels to reach out to the customers at the right time through the right channel, and also the right message which should stand out. So basically, the importance, one key thing about digital marketing is that it should also not just convey the message, but then the real thing is now prompt for an action. So if you act now, you will get a certain benefit. And I think that's where this whole game is moving towards. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Khuram said, data will not make the decision what you do with data well. So it's extremely important to understand how data is coming in, then how it is being filtered, how it is being analyzed, how it is being sent to the right channel, to the right person, so that it creates the right impact. But all of it doesn't take away the human element, and Khuram also emphasized on it, which is extremely important to understand, because a lot of time people are just nervous that humans are going to be replaced by robots or machines. In some cases they will, so let's not underestimate that, but humans will find new ways of doing things, new ways of using the machines. So it's the way we are doing the jobs which will change. And if we are not willing to change that, then the world will change us. But those who will change will stay very relevant. So we've talked about the human element, we've talked about the data element. There's an industry element as well. How does industry see this disruption? And this is an industry, interesting industry to speak about, because especially in the context of Pakistan, just like we don't have too many banked population or too much banked population in the country, talk about insurance, that's possibly even lower. So how does the industry see the role of this digital disruption, and how industry, in this case insurance, but you can also talk about in generic term, how do you see things moving forward from an industry viewpoint, taking either advantage or get swamped by this data tornado, if you like?
Well, I totally agree with Dr. Saab and Sir that it's not about just the machine, but it's the man or the human behind the machine. As far as the financial industry is concerned, we are basically, digital help to create that ecosystem where people can do more with their lives. As you if you take an example of banking industry, so what does digital do? With these apps, we don't, basically the idea is to discourage traffic from the branches. If you're here to just take out the cash, you can and you want to transfer the funds, you can always do it on your mobile phone, and you can save time and you can do better things in your life. So basically it helps. But as far as communication is concerned, digital communication is concerned, I always believe, because I've worked in an advertising agency, I've been a client, I've worked for an FMCG like Unilever as well. So we always believe in one thing, that first we need to be clear, then we need to be clever. Because clarity is of the essence. We as clients, जैसे अभी मेरे उस्ताद शुएब कुरैशी साहब ने बोला कि clients जो हैं वो सबसे important चीज़ client है, तो मैं ये कहता हूँ agency is as good as clients and outcome is as good as brief. आप किसी फैशन डिज़ाइनर के पास जाके ये नहीं कह सकते कि जी इसको बनाना नहीं आता, आपको बनवाना नहीं आता. आपको पहले, हम लोगों को बेसिकली द थिंग इज कि वी नीड टू बी ऑब्जेक्टिव ड्रिवन, वी नीड टू हैव क्लियर कट ऑब्जेक्टिव कि व्हाट वी नीड आउट ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर टास्क, पर्टिकुलर कम्युनिकेशन, पर्टिकुलर एप्लीकेशन. वी नीड टू बी क्लियर फर्स्ट कि व्हाट इज द कोर ऑब्जेक्टिव बिहाइंड इट, देन you get the required solution. If you go to a doctor and if you say कि मुझे दर्द हो रहा है, तो he'll give you a broad spectrum painkiller. But if you say कि मेरे यहाँ दर्द हो रहा है, तो he'll ask you certain questions. He'll dig down deep. So that's exactly the formula of communication works, that you need to be clear, you need to have all the right answers to the questions. And insurance industry, क्योंकि आपको पता ही है हम कोई tangible तो बेचते नहीं हैं, हम तो जो है वो एक थॉट की बात कर रहे होते हैं. तो आपको सबसे पहले तो सबसे पहली चीज़ होती है एलिमेंट ऑफ ट्रस्ट डेवलप करना पड़ता है. और बैंकिंग के अंदर ये ज़्यादा है, पाकिस्तान के अंदर 11% बैंक पॉपुलेशन एंड अनफॉर्चुनेटली 89% स्टिल अनबैंक्ड. और इंश्योरेंस का तो सिंगल डिजिट पे था, बढ़ के एंड थैंक्स टू बैंक इंश्योरेंस एंड अदर कॉन्सेप्ट्स दिस हैज़ ग्रोन टू 3 to 4%, but I'll still be skeptical about it. So awareness किस तरह से क्रिएट करेंगे, डिजिटल को किस तरह से आप यूज़ करेंगे. तो for us we have created an app, very nice app for health, where we are covering more than 400 hospitals. If you go to the hospital and if you're not carrying a card, so that's where digital help. If you have an application, you still get the right treatment on those hospitals by utilizing those apps, and you can still get the claim instantly. and you don't need to talk to. अगर 3 बजे रात को कोई emergency हुई है, तो you still go and you can get yourself checked. So it can only work as a tool, as an agent who can help. And if you can drive it well, so yes, but uninterpreted data is the data loss. अब मैं मोबिलिंग के कुछ लोगों के साथ बैठा हुआ था, उन्होंने कहा कि जी we interact with 54 million people each and every day, and we exactly know where they go, what do they eat, but I still don't utilize their data as तो वही वाली बात है कि जितना ज़्यादा हमें इंफॉर्मेशन का जो ओवरडोज हुआ है उसको हम कितना एब्जॉर्ब करते हैं, कितना यूज़ करते हैं और कितना आगे इस्तेमाल करते हैं, तो वो इसके ऊपर काफ़ी ज़्यादा जो है वो करता है.
Excellent. On a lighter note, because I was talking to an insurance man, so there's a very interesting stanza on insurance salesmen. Since I've been a salesman all my life, I think the toughest of sales job is selling insurance.
Absolutely. मैं बल्कि मैं एक चीज़ सॉरी कोट करूँगा. मैं एक जगह गया, बहुत बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अंदर. मैं एक एजेंट था. 20 years ago I was an agent in the same organization actually. और मैं इंश्योरेंस बेचते बेचते एडवर्टाइजिंग एजेंसी चला गया था. तो एक साहब आए, उन्होंने मुझे बहुत ही ज़्यादा जो है उन्होंने कहना शुरू कर दिया कि ये तो ये है, ये तो आप क्या बात कर रहे हैं, कल का तो किसी को भी नहीं पता, आपको पता ही है वी हैव गॉट सर्टेन कंसर्न्स. तो मैंने कहा कि जी आपने दूसरों को टाइम दिया, मुझे सिर्फ 5 मिनट दे दीजिए, मैं आपको बेचूंगा नहीं, आपने प्लीज़ मेरी बात सुन लीजिए. और उन्होंने फिर टाइम दिया. तो फिर वो लिटरली व्हेन यू स्टार्ट एक्चुअली इट्स इंश्योरेंस इज़ अ ब्यूटीफुल प्रोडक्ट. यू जस्ट अगर आपको उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग आ जाए ना, तो कोई वजह नहीं है कि आप नहीं लेंगे. मगर द थिंग इज़ कि हमारे क्योंकि इट्स अ टैबू, हम बात ही नहीं करना चाहते. और अनफॉर्चुनेटली हमारे पास जो फोर्सेस हैं वो इतनी ज़्यादा वो वेल इक्विप्ड नहीं होते बेचारे कि वो टाइम के पास. अगर आप सही तरह से इसके अंदर डिस्कशन कर लें, आई कैन गारंटी यू, अगर इफ़ यू गिव मी 5 minutes टू हैव अ डिस्कशन, यू विल बी सोल्ड टू गेट इट. बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली वही वाली बात है कि
So, अनवर मसूद एक हमारे बड़े ज़बरदस्त शायर हैं, उन्होंने एक दफ़ा कहा था कि आप कराएं हमसे बीमा, छोड़ें सब अंदेशों को. तो एक इंश्योरेंस सेल्समैन इंश्योरेंस बेच रहा है कि मुझसे बीमा कराएं, मुझसे अच्छा कोई नहीं है. सो आप कराएं हमसे बीमा, छोड़ें सब अंदेशों को, इस खिदमत में सबसे बढ़कर रोशन नाम हमारा है. सो नोबडी डज इट बेटर देन व्हाट वी डू. आप कराएं हमसे बीमा, छोड़ें सब अंदेशों को, इस खिदमत में सबसे बढ़कर रोशन नाम हमारा है. खासे पैसे मिल जाएंगे आपके बीवी बच्चों को, आप तसल्ली से मर जाएं, बाकी काम हमारा है. So,
but adding to what you say, if you live it's saving, if you die then it is insurance.
I agree. So let's just move on. Before I do a small announcement, after this session, we have the last session of the day, which is possibly the best session of the day from Mr. Bharat Avalani on storytelling. So please hang on after the session. Listen to him. We had a couple of pre-conference sessions yesterday, and the feedback of that session is just brilliant. So just hang in there. I just want to move back to Dr. Irfan, and you touched upon the human element, and quite well. I do want to understand from you, and you spoke about the past, and you spoke about the value of human, and hopefully it is not going to go away. But what sort of role do you see for humans, say next 10 to 15 years, especially in marketing sphere, but even otherwise, in the professional environment, in the way they work, in the way they act today? How do you see this role evolving? And do you see them as relevant as they are today?
Let me talk about my own experience, because I'm someone who likes to take on new things. So I took on the internet as a medium of advertising when most people didn't even use websites. They didn't know anything about internet advertising. In 2012 or 13, I went for something called programmatic advertising. There's a company in the US called Rubicon Project. I got in touch with them. In 2013, they reached more eyeballs than even Google. And that's a Nielsen report. So they were able to reach out to a large number of people. So I thought that this would be a great way to help my clients advertise. So I decided to run a few campaigns using the Rubicon project. But yes, they were able to reach a large number of people, but the quality of the sites that they were sending those ads on was not something that I would want any of my clients to be advertising on. So here again comes the human element, where I, as a human, have to decide what is good for my client and what is not good for him. Does this particular website where I'm placing my client's ad add value to the client? Or is it going to denigrate the quality of that brand? That decision is human. And that's something that I need to take. Moving along, I then realized that the internet was becoming a cluttered environment. Websites, mobile sites, everything was becoming just too much dependent on programmatic advertising, on giving away your rights as a human to technology to decide where the ad will be placed, on which website, and of what size. Because when you book through Google, you've got a whole bunch of different sizes of ads. You just place it, and then you let Google do the work. The human element was being lost. So more recently, I decided to go for something called digital out of home. And I went for digital out of home, which is iconic. So I'm currently involved in selling digital out of home in places like Times Square, New York, at Piccadilly Circus in London, on the London Underground, and on various other cities around the world. Now, in order to sell something to, let's say, a company in Pakistan, to advertise in Times Square, you go through any kind of digital, programmatic, or technological analysis. It just doesn't give you an ROI. Why will Jubilee Insurance advertise in Times Square when there's hardly any ROI that's visible? No technology will tell you to do that. But we had a client here, Hamdard. They advertised Ruafza on Times Square on the 23rd of March. They made a video of their advertising. That video has been seen 1.4 million times on YouTube. It has been seen even more times on Facebook and has been shared multiple millions of times on WhatsApp. So if you were to look at this advertising from a strictly analytical perspective, there would have been no ROI. But because there was somebody at Hamdard, somebody who believed that by advertising in an iconic space, you can create more interest in your brand, that human element went in, and they agreed to advertise. And they followed that up because of the success of that branding, with advertising in the London Underground, with advertising in Toronto's Eaton Centre, and now they're planning to do more advertising on 23rd March in various other cities around the world. That's the power of the human element. That's building your brand through the human touch. Again, using digital medium.
Excellent example of how the world has evolved from advertising or marketing in yesteryears to using the power of data, using the power of social media, not just to advertise, but to beyond the advertisement, use it in a way that it becomes very, very effective. So, and again, human mind is absolutely irreplaceable. But let me come back to Khuram again and back to data. How do you see data and human element combined together come up with, if you like, the future magic of where the world is going to move forward?
So, absolutely. I think we all heard Stephen Ropes, the keynote speaker this morning, talking about the fact that the artificial intelligence will provide you with statistics, hidden patterns, will provide you with, you know, kind of relationships which would not be possible for a human mind to look at. But then at the end of the day, what it does is it provides you with all those visualizations, with all those patterns. At the end of the day, it has to be a human who has to then take that conscious decision as to how to interpret it, and then what is the best way to utilize it. As Dr. Saab just mentioned, you know, just purely looking at ROI, so you can't just say that for programmatic advertising, just look at the ROI and then take a decision. So programmatic advertising can tell you what could be some of the possible best ways of spending it. But then at the end of the day, I think I'll use the cliche, it's the man behind the gun, which always prevails. So to me, data in whatever form can provide a lot of very interesting insights, very interesting patterns, hidden relationships. But then at the end of the day, it is for the humans to interpret it and take decisions. And there, yes, at the end of the day, it is the gut feeling. The only difference is gut feeling, which is supported by facts, which comes into play.
Very good. And again, you know, more or less a consensus before I go to Usman. So I will open the floor for questions. So if anyone has questions, once I've done with my question to Usman, so please raise your hand, and hopefully there are ushers here who will come to you and give you the mic to ask the question. So as Khuram also said, I mean, you can't replace humans. The power of intuition, the power of guts, the power of understanding the avalanche of data, which, by the way, all of us are contributing to. So all of us generate incredible amount of data each day. So we are all part of, in a way, data enrichment, but in some ways we are also part of this data pollution that is happening all around us. So beware when you are really enriching the data out there, and when you are actually polluting the data, especially when you are forwarding as received messages. Question to Usman, do you really see the role of, and specific reference to financial industry, but also insurance industry, do you really see role of humans going away? Even in countries like Pakistan in next 10 to 15 years, with all this digital disruption and machines absolutely taking over the role of insurance salesman, insurance marketing, insurance C-level decision making. How do you see it evolving for your own specific industry?
Well, it will not completely have, you know, it will add few touch points, customer touch points as far as insurance and financial industry is concerned, because financial dealings and financial industry is more of a personal thing. Bankers and insurance agents are all over the world are known as personal financial consultants, and they are more of a part of the family. If you look at it, we have a consumer economy. We have a different kind of mindset. 70% of our population are not even exposed to the mediums you are talking about. So when you're talking about those areas, जैसे एक छोटी सी एग्जांपल है टोपा टेक्सिंग की, तो टोपा टेक्सिंग के अंदर जो है अगर एक बैंकर जो है वो बेसिकली वो बैंक होता है. अगर आप बात करें कि जी मैंने HBL में, मैंने UBL में, मैंने फलाने में पैसे जमा करवा दिए, तो वैसा नहीं होता. I come from that background. We have got a factory. I asked my uncle that where did you put your money, in which bank? वो जहाँ यार वो बदनान है आजकल वहाँ पे रखवा दिए. तो for them the personal interaction is more important. हमारे यहाँ इस चीज़ को evolve होने में थोड़ा सा टाइम लगेगा. हम अभी तक अंडर यूटिलाइज्ड हैं. हम लाइक आई सेड कि हम डेटा को इंटरप्रेट कर ही नहीं रहे हैं उस तरह से जिस तरह से करना चाहिए. इफ़ यू आस्क मी, हमारे जो सोशल मीडिया के ऊपर जो हमारे 2 मिलियन सब्सक्राइबर्स हैं, जो 2 मिलियन हमारे लाइक्स हैं, उनके साथ ही हमें इंटरेक्शन करने के लिए अब आप देखें कि बैंकिंग एंड फाइनेंशियल इंडस्ट्री का जो एक्सेलेंट इंगेजमेंट रेट है वो 3.5 to 4% होता है ऑफ द ओवरऑल पॉपुलेशन, ऑफ द ओवरऑल यूनिवर्स यू हैव. सो यू इंटरेक्ट ओनली 3.5 to 4%, एंड उसके ऊपर अगर आप 7% हो जाते हो तो आप भंगड़े डालते हैं. तो if we are managing more than 11%, that needs to have some kind of a connect that we have created. और every medium has got their own expertise. You should have your own. Every medium should be taken separately. वही वाली बात है कि अगर आपने टीवी का ad अगर digital पे लगा दिया, it will not have that impact. You need to have a special mindset for the specialized area. You need to have a specialized mindset and skill set as well. Then only you will be able to do something. As far as financial industry is concerned, it will definitely add touch points. If my insurance is being sold on an application, or we are there on some digital channel, we are in fact one of the few and first movers in Pakistan who launched this kind of insurance policies on applications. So we have got we have recently started. आप करियाना स्टोर पे जाके आप health insurance ले सकते हैं. आप जाएं और जाके 1,000 रुपए की इंश्योरेंस लेना, you'll get a 25,000 or 50,000 rupee cover on the spot. So yes, it will help you adding those customer touch points, but it will not definitely eliminate the human factor.
So good news for all humans, they are not going away. So just be reassured after this session. Do we have questions from the audience? Anyone? So everyone is. Okay, so I'll just then, if we don't have questions, I would just want each one of you to have very quick parting comments, if you like, on the session. How do you see the role of humans, data, industry going forward? Khuram, we start with you. Just very quick comment.
Thank you very much. I think the session, the consensus is there that there is definite value in digital, there is definite value in data, utilizing data internally and externally. But at the same time, I think we all agree that while we look to make the right use of data, but at the end of the day, it will be the humans who are going to take those decisions. Again, I would just say, use their experience, use their gut feeling, whatever you may want to call it, backed by data, backed by facts, and that's how I see things moving forward.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah, agreed. Dr. Irfan?
I think I would echo the sentiments of Khuram in the sense that you have to utilize data, you should not ignore it, but at the same time, use your human element, your human touch, your passion. Is this something that you feel is going to be good for you and your company? Then go for it.
Usman, your last comment?
Well, I must say, I don't know what our senior colleagues are saying, that human element is there, but we need to be clear. I will still, focus upon that because, the largest travel company of the world owns no hotel. The largest car company of the world owns no cars, and the largest that is one thing that we need to be clear on, that what is your concept, what is the concept behind it, and what is the core objective behind it. So we need to be clear. Clarity is of the essence. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I think the point Usman made, just to conclude. So first is, all these tools like data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, they bring speed, they bring efficiency, they bring scale. They absolutely do not replace humans and will not replace humans, but the way humans are being used today will definitely change. So it's extremely important. So one question I always tell at least the young people to be aware of and to continue to ask yourself, whatever I know today, whatever I do today, will it stay relevant 2 years down the road? If the answer is yes, you are on the right course. If the answer is no, you need to immediately learn. If the answer is I don't know, you are in big trouble. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call upon President Ali Hassan and our Vice President Imran Ahmed to come to the stage and please present our panelists as well as our moderator with the appreciation mementos. To begin with, Mr. Veqar ul Islam. Thank you. Mr. Khuram Rahat. Dr. Irfan Ahmed. Syed Usman Qaiser. Great. Thank you, gentlemen. One group photograph.